Hey, Monday, November the 15th, sitting in my living room. Sometimes I like to change up my scenery and get out of the back office and get up to the front. It's brighter and more airy up here. Anyways, instead of doing a couple of quotes today, what I thought I would do today is give you a couple of stories. Just, things that I've been hearing and reading about and stuff like that. I'd maybe give you my take on it for what it's worth. The first one, guy, he's done work. It's late at night. He's had just a hell of a day, right? So he's fighting traffic to get down to the subway station. He finally gets down there, and it's like grouped in like a bunch of cows. Finally, this train comes by and he boards. Oh man, you know what? I'm gonna hang on. Not important. Anyway, so he gets on the train, right? And he's sitting there, and across from him is this man and his two children. And the man is sitting there, and he's got his head down, and he's kind of ignoring his kids. The little girl's sitting there, and she's bawling her eyes out. She's blubbering away, and the little boy, he's crazy. He's up and he's down, and he's running around, and he's driving this poor guy across from him insane. So the guy, he's getting angry, and he's thinking, they're going to get off in the next stop. Okay, they'll get off in the next stop. After 3 or 4 stops, finally, he's had enough. So he gets up, he walks across, he sits down beside the guy, and he says, "Excuse me, sir." He says, "But your children," he says, "like, you're sitting there in a daze, and your children, one's crying, and the other one's driving everybody insane. What's your problem?" He says it kind of politely, and the guy, after a couple of seconds, he's not responding. Then he finally turns and looks at the guy, and he says, "Sir," he says, "I'm sorry. We just buried their mother. I guess my kids don't know how to behave." And the guy, he's taken aback. He sits there and he thinks, wow. So, and I'm reading this in one of these books, and it's actually a true story. And my point for this is sometimes when something is happening, you have two choices, right? You can either react to it or you can choose not to. Put my gum in my mouth for a sec. Let it switch. The point of my story is sometimes, for example, I'm driving down the road and I get cut off. I always remember this story because I'm thinking, then I get thinking, this guy, obviously, wherever he's going is more important than where I'm going, and it's important that he gets there before me. And possibly his little girl or his little boy has been in a car accident, or his wife or parents, something has happened to him that's forced this guy to make the choice he's making. And it makes me feel better. I no longer have to be upset that I got cut off in traffic because, by not chasing this guy down and giving him the finger, whatever the case may be, I can just let him go and get on with his life. Or, if you're pulling into a parking spot and somebody takes my parking spot away from me, I let it go. And trust me, there was a time when I let absolutely nothing go. But I'll tell you, I live a lot more calm now and a lot more peaceful life because I remember this story. And obviously where they're going is more important than where I'm going. So, the next time something happens to you where all of a sudden you red zone, just sit back and remember the little story about the poor guy on the train with his two children that just buried their mother. And yeah, the second story is it happened to me and my family. A few months ago, we were sitting in Pizza Hut, and it'd taken like 5 minutes to get a menu and a glass of water. And I'm looking around and thinking, what the hell's going on here, right? And I noticed that there was one person taking care of the entire floor, and there had, in Pizza Hut, there's got to be 20 seats or so. And I don't think at this time, I think everybody else had gotten their drinks and I was still waiting for my water. So I finally, when the guy went by, I stopped him and I said, "Excuse me." I said, "I noticed that you're extremely busy tonight. You seem to be working all by yourself. Is there something I can do for you?" I said, "I have no waiting experience, but is there any way that I can help, maybe make your job a little easier for you?" And he thanked me and he apologized. And what had happened was the two people that were supposed to come in that night called in sick. So he, on his night off, had to be called in because he's the manager, and he had to take care of this entire restaurant. But I'll tell you, we had great service. I mean, some of the best food we've ever had at Pizza Hut. And I never had to wait. Like, my water would be half done, and boom, right there on his way by. But I was watching, it kind of picked up for everybody as well. Just with a few kind words. Now, I could have chosen to be a total dickhead to this guy, and, I'm going to risk getting spit in my pizza, or even worse, service. So again, the choice that I made was to offer this guy a couple of kind words, and it really picked up because the way that I look at it, I think you often get what you go looking for. And I mean, I very rarely ever get bad service. I went to Tim Hortons I went to the bank great service. I went to Tim Hortons because I had to make change for a stamp. Great service. I went to the post office. Great service because I walk in, it's eye contact, it's a smile. How are you? Great day. And I go in expecting to get what I give, and I give great service, so I expect great service in return. I don't go looking for anything but the best. And I think that in life, sometimes what we go looking for or what we ask for is often what we get. So maybe the next time that if you're going in and maybe something's happened to you before, give them the benefit of the doubt. Remember the first story. Go up expecting nothing but the best, and hopefully you get what you asked for. That's all I have. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.